Wait for it. They're coming. Roller coaster in New York, New York. They're almost at the top. Hope you enjoyed that shot. I had to wait there forever for the roller coaster to come back around. Anyway, I think this will be the last one, the last character of the MGM Rakeback promotion, especially because the promotion ended last night. I left at like 1:30 a.m. There was $1,399 left in the fund, and 2 people in line when I was cashing out my chips were there to cash out their hours. So I can't imagine it even lasted till like 10 a.m. But final day, another character, Seat-3. That's the best nickname I have for him. It started as soon as he got to the table. He told us about a story that happened the night before at MGM. He said a guy shorted the pot, and when he pointed it out, the guy lost it and started arguing with him. He said a guy who we later figured out is a regular, a local regular, and it actually took a ton of asking. Like, I had to ask this guy a lot of questions, try to figure out who was the dealer, try to figure out the other locals at the table so that we could ask other people who this guy is. I really wanted to find out who it was. Oh, we found out who it was, which I didn't care for this guy anyway, but he wasn't like a cheater. Apparently there was a bet of 50 and this local guy put out 40. And when Seat-3 the night before says, yeah, that's $10 short, which yes, you should speak up. Absolutely yes. Because if you don't speak up, I'm gonna digress for a second. If you don't speak up, it is so annoying because there's definitely someone else at the table who noticed and is gonna choose to speak up 2 streets late. And it's just gonna destroy the game. You might have to go to surveillance. Even if you don't have to go to surveillance, you have to call the floor and like undo the pot. You have to throw the promo rake back in, throw the actual rake back in, and you have to undo the pot. Like, how many people were in pre-flop? What was the raise amount? How many people were in on the flop, on the turn? What were the bet amounts? What were the blinds? And you have to like reconstruct the pot and figure out if the correct amount is in there. There was actually a time in autumn 2020 at the Horseshoe Baltimore, this was going on at the next table. It was funny, it wasn't going on at my table. It would never go on at my table because I would know all this stuff. If the floor had to come over, I would say, it was this much to go pre, this was the bet on the flop, this was the bet on the turn. I've had to do this before. I'm paying attention and I know the amounts. At the Horseshoe Baltimore, this happened and the floor came over and he's like, okay, we'll just like add up the pot. What was it to go pre? He asked the guy who raised pre and the guy says, I don't know. And the floor says, you were the one who raised, everyone's telling me. He goes, yeah, I raised. And you don't know the amount? Oh, I don't know how much I made it. So he asked the next guy in the seat next to him, you were here for the whole hand. Do you know how much he made it pre? And that guy goes, I don't know how much it was. And he like snapped. And the floor goes, how does nobody know the amounts of the bets? And I don't know what they ended up doing, but probably had to go to surveillance, which takes even longer. Anyway, that's what happens if you don't speak up. So yes, speak up. Even if you're wrong, you speak up and the dealer says, no, these amounts are correct, and it takes a second. When you don't speak up and speak up too late, it takes forever. So this guy said, you know, your bet is $10 short, and he claims the other guy snapped at him and said, you're not even in the hand. I know what I'm doing, I know what I'm betting, I know how much I put in there. Well, if all of that is true, you know you're cheating the pot? That's not good. So I don't get how that's your argument. And we actually had a dealer who said he pushed in right after all this happened and heard them like kind of making up, but not really, it seemed like. Anyway, that's what Seat-3 started us off with, that story. That was great. Later, Stealth Mode came to the table. You remember Stealth Mode? Great nickname. So Seat-3 is in Seat-3, Stealth Mode is in Seat-5. I need to put the camera down because there's going to be some like arm movements I'm going to have to show you. Seat-3 is in a hand with Seat-2. It's a fairly small pot. On the river, Seat-3 bets, Seat-2 folds. And pretend like these are cards. Seat-3 takes his cards up off the table, shows his neighbor, and throws them face down. Stealth Mode, very stealthily, not being funny, he really said this very quietly, asked the dealer, I want to see those cards. The dealer turns them over. Seat-3 didn't hear Stealth Mode ask. He just sees the dealer turn his cards over. So Seat-3 says, well, thanks a lot for flipping my cards over. He doesn't know anyone asked. The dealer says, if a player asks, you know, it's show one, show all, I need to flip the cards over. So then Seat-3 says, all right, who asked? I didn't hear anyone ask. And the dealer points at stealth mode in Seat-5. So then Seat-2 didn't really know what was going on. So Seat-2 asked Seat-3, what's going on? And Seat-3 goes, oh, not that it mattered, it was such a tiny pot, but like, that guy asked to see my cards. I just had to figure out who the dick at the table was. That was great, because there was absolutely no reason. First of all, stealth mode is doing nothing with this information. He's just playing his quads and better. That's it. And I've never asked, even though you're allowed to. So that was just the beginning. About 2 hands later, and I'll give Seat-3 a ton of credit for planning this in advance. I doubt he thought of it on the spot. Seat-3 is playing a big hand, and I need to move over to show you some arm movements in a second. He's in a big hand, he bets the river pretty big, and everyone folds. As soon as everyone folds, stealth mode is 2 seats to his left. Seat-3 takes his cards, reaches across the face of the 4 seat, and shows his cards. He puts them right inches in front of stealth mode's face so that he could see the cards before he tables them. That was great. I was the one laughing the most. I was the one who understood what he did the quickest. I laughed first. I laughed the hardest. I laughed for the longest. That was amazing. And one more great thing with Seat-3, there was a hand where he was like going to be third to act pre-flop. As the dealer is dealing the cards, he says all in. Oh, that's binding. It's action out of, verbal is binding, and it's action out of turn. And there are rules for action out of turn. So I say to him, because no one at the table is going to enforce it, but it was a friendly table, except for stealth mode, but I tell him, be careful with that, because like, I don't think anyone's going to enforce it, but you could be all in right now. And Seat-3 says to me, no, I'm not all in. No, that doesn't matter. I said, it could. I don't think anyone's gonna make you, but yeah, like you could be all in. If the right person wanted you to be all in, you'd be all in right now. Just, I'm like warning you for the future, like probably don't do that again. So, he doesn't believe me. The 1 seat folds, or the 9 seat folded, the 1 seat folded, the 2 seat folded, and now it's on Seat-3, and before he acts, the dealer says, yeah, you know, since action didn't change, there was no raise in front of you, your verbal declaration out of turn is now binding. Like if anyone cared, you'd be all in right now. And he said, really? Like I didn't even have cards. He goes, well, I had dealt the first card, the hand was in progress, and you declared all in. Like you could be. I don't think anyone minds, but yeah, you could be in the future. So he plays the hand, he wins, he tips $5 for like the misunderstanding. He didn't tip it to me, like I'm the one who warned him first. But he tips it to the dealer, and he goes, oh, you know, sorry, I didn't know. I really didn't think I'd be all in. I didn't think there was anything wrong with that. So, okay, that's fine. So I say to him, you know, it's nice to know that you don't believe anything I say, but you'll believe the dealer if he says the exact same thing. And the 3C says, no, I believed you, I did. And I said, no, you didn't. The first thing you said was, no, I'm not all in. And the 3C goes, nah, I didn't believe you. So that table last night, it was good at first. It got like really, really good when Seat-3 and a guy who I didn't mention, Seat-6, was at the table. And then it kind of died down towards the end of the night and I left around 1:30, but that was a fun table. Seat-3, another character, promo should be done. If I had to guess, it ended like, I don't know, 8 hours ago or something. And that's it. Seat-3.